welcome in everyone to the Blue Otter Diamond League here in week 2. Bring up to you a matchup in the Freljord division between XG OnlyFrogs and XSV Orion. I'm Isaac. Joining me tonight will be Fel on the cast.
Hey, what's up, Isaac? How you doing?
Doing all right. We're XG OnlyFrogs and XSV Orion are two of the teams that quite a few of the eyes were on coming into this league. And so it is this matchup that I'm particularly excited for, especially because of the drafts of XG OnlyFrogs. Notably, last week against the Basement Dwellers, they picked Lee Sin mid and Aurelion Soul jungle and almost managed to pull off a win with that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Teams like that are always hard to play against, to plan against, and once you start seeing those things, it opens up the door for just so many possibilities and what you have to do to go into it. And also, both of these teams are 1-0 respectively too. So we're getting two of the top teams that were projected to be there. And then first week jitters are out. The first week, some of the surprise things that you want to pull out are out. And so now they have a little bit of information on each other. And both of these teams, they want to start 2-0. 2-0 looks so much different than 1-1, especially when you started the season 1-0.
Yeah, and just as a few things to note coming into this one, Draftal is having a few issues with displaying things, so things might not exactly go perfectly in terms of display, but we will try to update you with who's playing what as they are drafted. So in advance that you know. But hold on, getting word that we might be redoing draft because perhaps of said issues. So going through that, yeah, obviously, I guess we could go over these two teams again. I mean, notably from XG OnlyFrogs. Sluter, of course, like I said, the Lee Sin mid was definitely one that threw everybody for a spin. But I mean, it's also just right, generally the sort of style of player he has. He's really big Akali fan as well. We should expect to see a lot of focus, a lot of volatility in and around this mid lane, especially with Sluter in it.
Yeah, and somebody like that, obviously the fingers are really strong if you're going to be able to pull off champions like that. One of the noticeable things from that match was that he spent a little bit too much time roaming and champion farming, wasn't able to get his CS, so he's a little bit behind. So if we see something like that again, during the VOD reviews, the coaching and stuff like that, when you get back together with your team and you're scrimming, like it's in the back of your mind, right? You're like, okay, like I know that this works. We have it in our pockets if we need it, but at the same time, I just need to make sure that I'm staying on top of things. And so the mental around that is like, we tried something cool. It didn't work for this particular game, but we did end up 2-1ing the series, and we do know that like playing whatever we want can work. We just have to play it a little bit smarter. So, moving forward for OnlyFrogs, that's one of the things that they can really do is just like work on, some of their maybe basic fundamentals when they're getting into these fun, not comfort matchups or whatever, champions that they're on, and they can really move in on that front and just like get better. Like the more that you play these weird styles, these weird comps, these weird things, the more other teams are going to have problems dealing with you. And they proved that they can also do that, maybe give up a game that they shouldn't have, but still stay the course. And, in the long run, maybe during, at the end of the season, maybe seedings might be a little bit different for them because they do have that one game loss. But, to be able to pull that off and then still come back and get the win on the series is, says a lot about your team.
Yeah, and so equally on the side of XSV Orion, last week in the 2-0 win over Glacial Tempest, they were dominant. There was hardly even a question about how that series was going to go as they played it. I think both games were sub 25 minutes. I think especially Chief and Itaconic, their not mid, jungle support duo really went off, especially in that second game. Itaconic was very much the central figure of this XSV Orion team and absolutely set the pace and the tone of that game.
Yeah, and having a jungler who can control everything is paramount to any team, right? Like the jungle controls the tempo, can end up controlling the
Okay, we're
vision,
back.
can starve him
Let's
out, and
go.
here we go. And we get the LeBlanc from XFV. It should be a LeBlanc and a Silas on their side. We didn't see what the other bans were, but as we're getting into this, is there anything particular that you want to see banned from either side?
Ooh, I mean, specifically banned away, I'm not quite sure just yet because I mean, if we're talking about especially like XG only frogs in terms of what XSV Orion might want to ban against them, even though they're known for playing the most out there sort of champions, it's still a bit early to where you'd be wondering like, okay, yeah, the Lee Sin mid Sluter's just so incredibly good on it, or like he's just an Akali god, so you have to get rid of it that way. Either way, so I'm not sure about any particular one ban that I want to see taken away, but if I am XG, the Wukong is certainly one that I think is really strong within the meta and just a general safe ban. If you're not on blue side, I just feel like you kind of have to take it away if you're on red. It's just such a really good B1 pick, and well, XE did do that, so now I mean the options for XSV Orion, they definitely play a much more standard sort of meta picks. Trundle is in fact one of those champions who seems to be pretty high priority in general currently.
Yeah, he's got a nice, safe, pretty quick clear in the early game. He can get to lanes pretty quickly, and basically like he's almost a guaranteed flash burn. If you don't see him coming and you're not backing up in time, that pillar comes out and it's instantaneous. Sometimes with the flashes, and then repeat ganks, things like that. Like he's very fast, deceptively strong early on, and can in the late game, basically transition from just the standard jungle into, like if we leave him up, he takes towers down. He can, get to lanes. He can, be all around the map a little bit quicker than you would expect, especially once he gets Dead Man's Plate, the movement speed off Trinity Force, things like that. So really, really strong, very, very solid pick early on. And we see the Lilia coming out as the counterpart. Unfortunately, we won't see XG's other two bans as the LoL client is still bugged, or LoL draft client is still bugged. But we do have the Aphelios coming in from ADC. How you feeling about the first two picks from XG?
They're feeling like a lot of comfort here. I know Big Wheel really does like the Aphelios. It was one that when I was talking to Improvise, who is marked as their captain, before the season began, that was one that he picked out. Was that Big Wheel's Aphelios is up there as a comfort pick, and another one with Joby. Joby really likes these AP junglers. Obviously, Aurelion Soul is a bit more out there in terms of AP jungle options, but I mean the Lilia's in his wheelhouse. The Zyra is also there. Is also a pretty big fan of Talia as well, even though that's definitely more of a mid laner these days. It's one that he likes to play. It's very much in line with what XG like to play. They're just going with comfort early on with these picks. And I haven't seen too much Lilia into Trundle, but I kind of have to figure, considering Lilia gets to go super fast and doesn't have really any huge dash abilities that are telegraphed that the pillar can interrupt. I feel like she should be able to just outrun Trundle and not be able to be touched if they find each other early on in the jungle.
Yeah, unfortunately, more technical difficulties coming in as we do see the misfortune.
The draft law is a
from
little bit
XFV.
broken right now. We're going to have to work with it.
We'll all
work
be
with
surprised.
us as well. But anyway, Braum going to be the choice for XG only frogs. I mean, it's a really common Aphelios pairing.
Yeah, and it's really strong, like if you can set it up to where, you get him into a position, especially later on in the game where he's just blocking so much of this, misfortune ult and whoever they ended up pairing it with, and then also in lane, it can catch you off guard with the Aphelios, with the Braum. You have double CC chances when he's got his purple weapon. So very, very strong bot lane pick from the side of XG. It's going to be very safe, very scary, scaly, and we do see it is a Rel.
It is a
so
Rel,
MF Rel, so it's a good counter to Rel too. Like she jumps in if she doesn't hit, her abilities and doesn't get the stops, and Braum is able to mitigate most of the MF damage. Then you're just kind of standing there getting perma slowed, perma locked, perma everything. Along with a good Lilia gank, this could be really, really dangerous for the side of XSV as we do see the other four bans coming out. Fortunately, we see the Mel and the Gwen being banned away from XFV, and then XG will not be able to play the Yon and Ambessa.
Yeah, the Yone one, I'm honestly a little bit surprised to see from XSV Orion, considering that it's Joby also, in terms of the wild champion pool that they have, Yone is one of them. Unless if I missed something with scouting Masuf, that maybe they think it's a potential flex into the top lane, even though Lilia top isn't necessarily all too common anymore. But I mean, the Braum pick is still a highlight to me, especially with how the much power that Miss Fortune Rel typically gets. You think of layering the Magnet Storm with the bullet time and just being able to keep everybody within that bullet time. But if you just press E, it does sort of stop that Scion being the option for XG, a very common blind pick top laner these days. But the response is the set coming out from XSV Orion.
Yeah, and I love this pick into a Scion. He's going to be farming health whether he wants to or not, just with his W passive. So Set is going to be really, really strong into this. You can stop his Q momentarily. You can basically stop everything with the exception of his ult, unless you are standing in his way. But really, really strong into the Scion. If he gets a chance to just dump him on top of the team, like there's no Braum shield in the world that's going to save enough of that. So really interested to see this top lane matchup and how far ahead Set can get if possible. I'd expect to see a lot of jungle attention up there early, just because if you get that Set ahead, or if you can get him to fall behind to where he can't do much, it's going to be so paramount to both of these teams wanting to go through. And we have the Ori as well coming in for XFV to round out their draft. And I thought I saw
We saw a Galio hover, but it's
Ari.
actually
Okay.
going to be Ari as the final pick for XG OnlyFrogs. So, but the Oriana pick, it definitely seems to be in line with the sort of Rel engage with the bullet time coming over the top, and you layer the shockwave as well. Definitely a lot of burst damage and even potentially sustain going over the top, and it does somewhat also ignore the Braum Unbreakable, as if you have the ball on them, you don't need the shield. It doesn't stop it.
Yeah, I actually really, really like XF's draft. It's very easy to pull off. The Set can speed himself up. The Ori can speed him up. Once he gets in there, if he can drop Scion on top of that team, let's just, if they're like crowded around Baron or Dragon or something like that, Set gets a really good ult into like three or four of them. And then the Ori ult on top of that, and the bullet time, and, Trundle just sitting there smacking. I really, really like this. It's a really easy go button for them. You could set it up with the pillar, set it up with the rel, set it up with Set. So really, really easy to pull off. But at the same time, XG has basically drafted a complete disengage, with the exception of the Ari. Not so much. She can get away, but she's not really so much of a disengage. But the rest of their champions have a lot of mobility and the opportunity to just sort of like keep their spacing and fight back front to back.
Yeah, and I think with XG as well, one thing I like about them specifically is that they have gone pretty much full comfort. Every single one of their players plays the champion that they are on quite a bit as well. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, as we are going to head to a spectator delay. I mean, actually, before then, Fel, who do you got taking game one? Personally, I think I've got XG, simply because I'm a little bit biased with how crazy a few of their drafts have been. But I don't know. What about you?
I'm thinking XFV. I just think that there's way too much utility that they have to set up the plays that they want. The only thing that you need to be wary of is, going too far and too much. I much would have rather seen the Galio come out for XG. I think that would have rounded it out. The Ari to me just doesn't make as much sense. If she doesn't get ahead, she's going to be lacking the damage to finish them off. They're so tanky. Ori, once she gets her Seraph's Embrace is going to be hard to kill. So I just think that they're going to be hard to kill. But, Lilia coming in, getting a 4 or 5 man ult could completely change a fight around. I just think that the ease of engagement is on the side of XFV, and I think that they're going to be able to pull it off.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But we are going to send it to a spectator delay. And when we come back, we'll have been loaded onto the Rift for Game 1 between XG OnlyFrogs and SSV Orion. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.
what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one.
And we are back and loaded onto the Rift for Game 1 between XG OnlyFrogs and XSV Orion. And straight away, before we get talking about the game, looks like XG trying to find a silly invade. It does make sense. Braum, definitely one of the stronger invaders in the game.
Yeah, and now it's just going to be, is somebody going to be sitting there? But it does look like XFV is kind of ready for this, but never
Will
mind.
not get the
Doesn't
full
get the
charge of the
knockout.
decimating smash. Said not getting the knockup, but they will force their way into the XSV jungle and get a ward down on the blue buff. Get a little bit of extra information advantage here.
Yeah, and XFE doing the right thing, going across map, getting the same thing here. They might actually be able to death brush this here, and it looks like they're going to try for it.
Improvise and Big Wheel don't know. 4 members of XSV have found out Improvise and Big Wheel. They don't quite have the burst, but able to take them down immediately. Joby and Sluter trying to do the same thing back the other way, but it's a good pillar to stop the advance. A few flashes away, Big Wheel and Improvise both using those, but it will be Big Wheel going down in first blood to XSV Orion.
Yeah, and that's huge. So that's one of those win cons that we talked about in the draft. So very big win. That was a really, really smart play by XFV to know that they were going to try to get some counter intelligence wards down. The banana brush is infamous for catching people out, and they use it to their advantage. And Set actually doesn't even miss any of the CS up top. So big early win for XFV.
Yeah, and the extra gold as well, but also with how much time it's going to take for Big Wheel to be able to move down into the bot lane. He's going to lose out on quite a bit of experience as well. Going to take a bit of time to be able to hit that level 2. And all the while, Crashdown comes down to find Big Wheel. The stun drops down onto both Big Wheel and Improvise from Chief. We're talking about in draft of how he had a really good time out last week and is starting out really strong once again here.
Yeah, and that's just, you taking advantage. You have the comp set up for that where you can do that. And, the first gank coming in from Joby on this Lilia.
Good stun from Chief, but the crash down will stop Joby a little bit longer, not quite finding the W on the Lilia, and will now have to try to retreat. Improvise could go down. Flash forward from Ixie will be able to turn this gank into a kill for the bot lane of XSV. Improvise going down, and it's gone from good to better. For XSV, it's straight into the top lane, solo kill for Jolts. It's about as perfect as you'd want from Orion.
Oh yeah, it is. They are taking advantage of everything that XG is giving them early on here, and Jolt's just gonna have to do his best to either get out here or just push. He gets the execute.
Yeah, it is the execute. So at the very least, won't give the gold over to Masuf. That was definitely one thing that I was a little bit concerned about with the teleport coming its way over. But now as Improvise returns to the bottom lane, if you look at that health bar of Big Wheel and how the farm is slowly starting to go, it could potentially get really, really far out of hand for the bot lane of XG if things continue this way. But Masuf going to flash preemptively away from Mediconic.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about earlier with the Trundle too. As soon as he shows up, he gets that flash away from Masuf, and Jolts is just having the time of his life up here on this set. He is going to be so strong and so hard to deal with, but Masuf doing a good job of trading back with him and staying as healthy as he can with those grass procs.
Yeah, obviously liking the fact that he can get a few more of those, but it wouldn't like it if the pull back finds its mark. The shield drops from Masuf, but it won't quite be enough. Jolts gets yet another solo kill. Can Masuf respond? The Haymaker gets the shield. The pillar stops the advance from Masuf and slows him down. It's a really good assist from Itacotic, even if it doesn't show on the scorecard.
Yeah, that's just the good guy Trundle play. Just sees his boy. He was like, I'm just getting some vision. I'll be right back in case you kill him. And it works out perfectly. And Jolts on this set is just so far ahead. It's going to be so hard to deal with him come the mid-late game if he's getting this much agency early on.
Yeah, it's really gone completely the way of XSV Orion. Already 1.5K gold up before the 5-minute mark. I don't know if that is a sentence I have ever uttered in my entire life. But
No.
here we are.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane, and unfortunately for XG, one of their big win cons is going to be this bot lane, this Ophelio scaling into the late game. So Joby's having to spend all of his resources and time down here to try to stop this from getting out of hand. So it's just a tale of both junglers having to do opposite jobs here. And as of right now, Itaconic's just having a much easier and more effective time managing his priorities.
Yeah, and with that said, in terms of priority, they Drake his spawn onto the map, but it's going to be Iconic once again in this top side of the map, catching Masuf, trying to proxy the wave and get as much as he can, realizing that he can't take up this set in a 1v1, so will instead try to collect as much gold as possible behind the wave, behind the tower instead.
Yeah, but they do have to be wary because now you have Joby on the bot side getting a free dragon from all the attention that Sion is garnering. So when you're 0-3 and you can actually give the rest of your team the ability to get the other objectives, and even though you're behind, still take the first dragon, still be able to, get something on the map. The gold isn't going to reflect the stats off the dragon, but first drag and early priority on objectives is huge. The one thing that I would be pretty sure of though is that more than likely XFV probably will be able to get the grubs, and a fed set with grubs might be really, really hard for them to deal with.
Speaking of a fed set, Jolts is going at Masuf once again. When drop the Haymaker, only doesn't do as much damage as we've seen a few Haymakers do just yet, but still a decent chunk out of Masuf. But with all that considered, the amount of time that Jolts and Iconic spent stopping the proxy of Masuf, did miss out on quite a bit of golden experience and minions.
Yeah, he did, but it's a trade-off. He lost basically 3/4 of a wave, maybe even 4/5 of that initial wave. Was able to get back for the cannon wave, and I don't think that Sion was able to catch the tail end of his. So, little mind game trades here. One thing they do have to be careful
will
of.
be stopped, sending Masuf over to Iconic with a little bonk of the club, gets the kill, but now the roam to the top side from Sluter lands the charm. Masuf in the zombie form will get the kill onto Iconic. Sluter showing up and helping out his team a bit more.
Yeah, and now this is going to be grubs more than likely for XG once they're up, but they still have 3 minutes, I guess, so it's not as detrimental as it could have been. I was actually kind of surprised that Iconic hadn't burnt his flash, seeing the Ari come in, but I guess if you wanted up for the Void Grubs, they are spawning now, so that's going to more than likely be free grubs, at least 2 of them, for the side of XG here, as Joby's already in position, and Rel and Trundle are way behind.
They're moving up towards that objective, though. They're committing Chief to this top side, gets the stun onto Joby and the crash down. The Lilting Lullaby will slow things down for a little bit longer, but Joby's so low, and that will be the flash away used by Iconic to secure it. But importantly, they get both 2 of the 3 grubs, securing that objective, not giving it over the way of XG. And now the unstoppable onslaught from Masuf will use to get out. I mean, he was auto attacked by Ixie, so he can't quite execute just yet, but he's back to the proxy to get as much gold as he can.
Yeah, unfortunately, it will end up being it will end up giving a kill over to Iconic, but getting the full wave when you're playing from behind on Sion, the best thing that you can do is just waste the time of the other team, and he's doing a great job of it. So, the stat sheet will not show how much pressure he's giving for his team over on the rest of the map, but really good job so far as now we look at their potential dive over to the bot side here on top of Jolts.
Yeah, it's left Jolts alone, but XSV Orion have figured out what's going on. You can see Happier Cat moving towards the bottom lane to try to help out if this goes on any longer. And as a result, actually have XG realize what's going on. They've not fully committed to it, but also equally XSV move back away and look to target Sluter. Try and find something onto Happier Cat, making sure that the Shockwave doesn't find its way onto the Ari.
Yeah, I don't even know if they realized what was
Oh,
going
wait, the
on.
pullback is successful from Big Wheel, and he's targeted under tower. Another solo kill to Jolts in the 2v1. Obviously, he had the advantage of a gank coming through. Stun now finds its way down onto Sluter. Shockwave does a ton of damage, but the dashes are still available on the ultimate of the Ari. Spirit Rush going to be used to be able to get out of there, but ton of damage dropped down onto Sluter.
Yeah, and that was almost a play that if he had committed a little bit harder, that Realm might have been able to punish that. A lot of damage coming out, but Oriana not having her item completed yet isn't going to be able to take the Ari down. But still, really, really good job of noticing. And on that bot side, if you notice the Jolts while he was going back and forth there. Oh no, Masuf caught out again here.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've seen this story so many times so far. It's going to be a bit tough for Masuf to find a way out of it. The pullback gets the stun onto Masuf. He's actually managing to manage this a little bit all right. A fully powered decimating smash drops onto Jolts, and it's not quite nearly as bad as we would have expected. They're not giving up on this fight just yet. A few more auto attacks from Jolts finds its way, getting Masuf quite low, but the return Unstoppable Onslaught gets its way down. Jolts, the target from the rest of XG OnlyFrogs, but this set will be going down. It is a big shutdown getting into the hands of Big Wheel.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's who they want the money on, and they get what they want out of it. So a little bit of an overstep from Masuf. They turn it into a
before
good
we
play.
get to that, Joby could be caught out. The pillar will force the flash from Joby. Bullet time. Can it get the kill? It does find the lethal XSV. Going to be able to kill the Lilia.
Yeah, just as important, I guess, is their ADC. Ixie with the Bloodthirster completed has a good amount of money. Really, really good turnaround there. The ultimate from Lilia the sleep almost saves her life, but just not quite yet. As a lot of lane swappage here coming out.
Oh no, Big Wheel pulled back. The stun finds its down onto the Phalios, who does flash away, does have access to the Gravelum to be able to get some CC down, keep Jolts at an arm's length, so no kill down onto Big Wheel, but it does cost both summoner spells of the Aphelios.
Yeah, and with the dragon coming up, that looks like that's going to be the next, or the dragon being taken away. So now the opposite thing is going on, where the top lane, the pressure being put on from XFV, Jolts in the top lane is now the one that's able to get the free dragon for the side of XFV. So a little tit for tat in here. It's nice. It's nice to see some cross map plays being made over and over here.
Oof. Yeah, and despite how one-sided this game has felt so far, because it definitely does feel like XSV Orion has really just ran away with this game. Despite all of that, they're really only sitting 2k up at this point in time. They might try to extend it a little bit further. The pillar knocks away Big Will, stops the recalls. Jolt's going to pick up that first kill. Improvise is still full health, so XSV Orion will just take the one kill and walk away.
Yeah, that was a really, really good pillar. Idiconic on this Trundle has been so good at just setting up his team for everything that they need. He's 4-1-3, but it feels like he's doing his best to just give everything away. When you're being the good guy and, the pillar earlier on to save his teammate, everything else is just going his way. And, when that's happening, as the dive's coming out bot.
But the dove will try to find Happier Cat to flash away, and the Shockwave finds its way down onto Sluter. It's a very messy dive from XG Orion. They do their best to find a response in the bot lane, but instead they hand 3 kills back to XSV Orion.
There is no better feeling than being dove 3-1 and getting that. It's just the action is just not.
The pillar drops, Big Wheel's in trouble. The Unbreakable stops a lot of the damage from Ixie, but it just won't matter. Idiconic runs down Big Wheel, and now the response is to drop the Glacial Fissure to try to get a few tower shots down onto the XSV team, but there's just not enough damage out of that tower alone. Teleport is going to come down, try to save this tower, but it won't arrive. Sluter in a bunch of trouble, having to flash away. This Ari is not long for the world as the show is stopped. Ixie goes on a rampage, gets the double kill, And of course, right as I said that the lead from XSV wasn't necessarily all that big, it's exploded. But before we get to that, a decimating smash finds its way onto 2 from Masouf. Joby's trying to find a way forward, trying to get Ixie caught out. But the rest of XSV Orion are collapsing. Masouf in a ton of trouble. No more help. 4 members of XSV have arrived. Jolts will get yet another kill.
Oh, this is just nonstop. XFV, like we were saying in the draft, it's just they're just putting their pedal to the metal and just going full force nonstop into XG. They have no time to even breathe. As soon as a play, whether it goes bad or worse for XG, as soon as it's over, there's just another play being brought on. So every time that they try to do something and be aggressive and make a play, XFV is just making them pay somewhere else on the map, and this is outstanding tempo control for XFV Orion in game
look
1.
Look at those gold differences. About 2.5k leads for Itaconic and Jolt over Joby and Masouf respectively. It's all over the map and on the members that XSV would want, but hold on, Unstoppable Onslaught going to be popped mid by Masouf, trying to find Ixie. Not going to get much there though.
Now, just once again trying to make something happen, but Ixie, keeps their head on their shoulders and going on. And now, Masouf, I don't know.
Masouf will be stunned. Bullet times dropped, but the Unbreakable won't be able to save Masouf. He's too far away, but a flank on the backside is trying to find Ixie, getting very low on the Misfortune, but doesn't go down. It's a valiant effort from XG considering how far they are behind, but they won't quite find the target. Charm finds his way onto Itaconic, but the crash down from Chief stops any sort of hopes that XG had to be able to pick off the Trundle.
Oh, this is just everybody. Everybody except for Rel is feasting on XG right now. Every time they try to make a play, it's just turning up against them. And Masouf with a little bit of showmanship there, just emoting a little bit in the mid lane just gave Itaconic enough time to get up there. And, if you're on the side of XG, you got to be like, bro, listen, like stop. At some point it becomes funny to not worth it anymore. And, just when the play doesn't work, you just have to get out. When you're playing against somebody, as good as XFV, like you can't get away with that kind of stuff. And he kind of baited his entire team into almost everybody dying there for basically nothing, a failed play in the mid lane.
It's definitely feeling like XG kind of playing like Hillsong. If Hillsong were a team where it's like if we're behind, we have to fight to be able to get back ahead, and we just need to fight 24/7 regardless to be able to bring them back into this one, because they are 8k down before the 18-minute mark, which is not ideal. We'll say
No, this is a pretty rough start. And unfortunately with the draft, even though I like their draft and they have a really strong scale into the late game, so does XFV. So it's not like you're waiting on like a Vagar or, somebody like that where you just, okay, late game, we protect, our main carry. And as long as we can get to 40 minutes, we can just turtle and win, and they won't be able to kill us. But XFV have a really strong draft too, and their champions are going to be dealing a ton of damage while being able to soak as well. They sent everything after that MF, and all of the shields, all of the peel that XFV was able to give just shows how hard it's going to be for XG to pull something off, as we're getting another play into the mid lane.
Oh, Unstoppable Onslaught will split Chief and Ixie. It's a valiant effort, especially if it found its target. Could have definitely been a solid pick for XG OnlyFrogs, but not quite working out this time, as I think we've said that a lot about a few of their attempts so far.
Yeah, and now they're just getting suffocated. You see the set on the top side, just pushing in the tier 2, stealing the jungle away, looking to make a play coming from the backside here as he's going to try to get it behind and probably ult Big Wheel into the rest of his team, but they are spotted out on a ward, unfortunately, so it's not going to go as well as they had hoped here.
I mean, all the time that does allow the rest of XSV Orion to get space. They'll take the mid lane tier 2, push XG OnlyFrogs even further back. Can Sluter try to find an angle here? Charm not finding the mark, not hitting anyone. And so any hope that XG were looking for, hold on, Lilting Lullaby going to be dropped down onto just Happier Cat. Charm finds its way onto Jolts. Again, Glacial Fizzer, a lot of resources are being committed by XSV to try to find a fight. Not really having any sort of luck.
Now it's a 4v4 and Sion trying to get up to the top side to stop the MF and try to catch her out. But Ixie doing a really good job noticing his positioning and where the Sion isn't and able to get that out there for free. Gets the free smash onto the top tier 2, so that turret's going to be ready to be taken down soon. So XFV just doing all of the right tempo moves here and using their lead to an extreme and pressing their advantage here. And XG is just going to be on the back foot of basically everything at this point.
Yeah, and really the best they can do is hope for an overextension from XSV Orion. Decimating smash from Masuf, not quite finding anybody, and now this Scion is the target, but he's still relatively tanky despite everything, so he's not taking too much damage just yet. But of course, as the subject gate comes down and bullet time over the top, Masuf is deleted. Bullet time doing so much, but a kill is returned. Shutdown onto the rel for Masuf. Sluter not quite finding the market, and the shockwave finds its way onto Joby. Ixie will follow it up. Goes legendary. Show will be stopped onto Big Wheel, but the damage from Aphelios isn't enough. Not quite. The haymaker's there to give Jolts the shield to prevent Big Wheel from getting any kills in return. But Sluter's looking to find a few stragglers. Edeconic's very low. The flash from Ixie over the charm. I mean, they're so far ahead that I'm not sure how much it would have mattered, but it was still very impressive nonetheless, and XSV Orion will be able to get the Otacon afterwards.
Yeah, and this Ari pick is just not doing it. Sluter's been missing so many important charms that would be able to turn fights around, but just missing by a hair every single time. And on that last one was dead on, but like you said, even if she does end up hitting Misfortune with the charm, what is that going to follow up with? Probably nothing, and just tuck her tail between her legs, all 9 of them, and walk away as they are getting a little bit back here on the bot side. But yeah, this Sluter on this Ari is just, I don't know if it's underperforming or just wasn't given the agency in the beginning to get ahead. But 0-4-1 with 1 item up against 305 with 2 items and upgraded boots. This is not looking good for the side of XG at all. Every single lane and the jungler are just so far behind.
Yeah, and collectively it's a 9k gold advantage to XSV Orion. At the 22-minute mark, oh no, Ixie will find out Masuf. Make it rain, going to slow down the sun, trying to escape, having to flash, but the subjugate means that he is thinner than a sheet of paper, is just burst through by XSV Orion. This Scion, 2 and 11, has not had a good game at all.
Yeah, and a trade of a tier 1 for a tier 2 is not good either. But Jolts, or actually Happier Cat coming in here.
Okay, I mean, he does so much damage with the shockwave, but is enough? Not quite. That'll be an 811 gold shutdown finding its way into Big Wheel's hands.
Yeah, ill-advised, I would say. When you look back at this one, you're like, maybe not the best thing. We can give up a tier 1. We're getting the tier 2. We're getting the dragon. Maybe let that one go and just either base and come from there and defend the tier 2, or defend the tier 2. The tier 1 really isn't that important at this point. I know objective bounties are up, but there's worse things to be giving up.
Joby isn't quite the target. Instead, Jolt will be stunned by the concussive blows, does have access to the haymaker. Oh my god, that deletes Big Wheel from full health. The show is stopped down onto Joby, but it will be the shutdown for the Lilia. Ixie has arrived. The Magnet Storm bullet time layering is so big. Ixie is legendary, but now Masuf has arrived. Can't be subjugated under these conditions. He's found his way onto Ixie. Does he have enough damage despite how this game has gone? No, he does not. It's a 12th kill unanswered for Ixie.
Yeah, absolutely insane job by Chief 2, just being there and doing a perfect job of peeling for Ixie. Like, these guys are they are on the same page. They are making plays together. Every time that it looks like Ixie's going to be taken down, Chief is there to have his back and just, I
don't even need this. That's just, yeah.
Happier Cat just so far ahead, smacking around Sluter with his wallet and just moving on. exposed inhibitor. They're not going to take it here. I think a smart play. They don't have everything. They probably want to reset here. MF is taking double camps away from Lilia, so this is just going their way. At this point in the game, as a team, you pretty much know it's going to be a huge throw to from XFV for you to come back in. What do you do, like, mentally, if you are XG here? Do you try to just make this go on as long as possible? Do you just like start talking about next game, or are you just trying to make sure that like your communication and fundamentals are on point here?
We'll have to wait for that because Big Wheel's the target. He does have access to the slow gun, but it won't matter. There's 4 members of XSV Orion in his lane, and they all move super fast. That's going to be the Phelios taken down, and with Baron on the map just spawned, XSV Orion moves straight to it, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't.
No, this is just going to have to be a hero play here from Joby on this Lilia, or they give it up, but it doesn't look like they are going to. It looks like they want to fight this. A little bit of damage from the Baron as this fight starts, but they are ready to go.
Onslaught only finds way onto one, and the Magnet Storm bullet time layering is perfect. Ixie's legendary, and the rest of XG OnlyFrogs have to run away as Inaconic also picks up Improvise, and what looked at might be a potential contest from XG goes terribly wrong, but hold on, have your cat going a little bit too far forward. The Shockwave stops the advance, and the punch from Jolts prevents any of that bonus damage dropping onto the Orianna.
Oh, just really, really choreographed team fights from XFV. This is so nice to see. They're doing such a great job of just playing together, and when somebody's in trouble, they're just right there with them. Is now
in trouble to pill it. That's just, I mean, wow.
At this point, you're just making bad decision after bad decision, just doing anything. I think the game has kind of gotten out of hand probably about 6 minutes ago, but at this point, they're just trying to just do something, just either pad the stats or just try to mitigate as much as they can. 4 Baron buffs is a lot better to deal with than 5. So I don't know. It just seems like right now the mental of XG is just turning into just discombobulated here,
It's the Hillisang mindset. If you're losing, we have to fight, no matter how far behind we are, no matter how a disadvantage a fight may be. We just fight, and if we find one, that's quite a few shutdowns, and hopefully it's the only way to turn it around, because now that you're 14k down, it'll probably be the only hope you got. Sluter going to have to use the Spirit Rush to get away from the team of XSV. Does manage to do it successfully, but won't have access to that ultimate for what it's worth. XSV continuing to push their siege and try to end this game as quickly as possible. Sluter is just deleted. The bullet time goes from 100 to 0. The show is stopped onto Improvise. Glacial Fissure will do its best to stop the advance, but it's not nearly enough. As I said, 13k gold to XSV Orion is basically nigh on impossible to stop for anyone, and it will be that way for XG. They'll do their best to valiantly stop this end, but there's just nothing they can do. Game 1 going the way of XSV Orion in convincing fashion.
Convincing is an understatement here. That was absolutely a slaughter of XG. They're just going to have to pick themselves up.
Did they get Masu?
Nope, they did.
I don't think they got Masu.
No, they did not.
Not at the end, okay.
No stat padding here. It's back to the drawing board for XG. Maybe they're going to come out of this, and instead of going on comfort or something like that, maybe they'll turn their attention to going to something crazy. I don't know. XFV just looks so strong. They just played their comp almost to perfection. Not a lot of holes in that one, and just every champion on that team did a great job of utilizing every skill set that's afforded to them, and just completely dominated game 1.
Yeah, I mean, from the very first minute as well, XSV Orion, they put the pedal to the metal. They took advantage of the late arrivals from the lanes from that failed invade, and that was that. And even though at the time it was in the back of my mind, it's like, well, it's not as so far ahead at that point in time. They pressed all their advantages perfectly. Ended up, I think it was like 14k gold over XG OnlyFrogs. So if there's any positives for XG OnlyFrogs, it is the fact that you don't get any bonus points for winning quickly or that dominantly. We're going to come back for game two. We're going to be back at a relatively even level. We'll have to see what XG OnlyFrogs do to change things up, because clearly they do have to change things up going into game two. But unless you have anything to add, Phil, I think we'll just send it to a break.
Nope.
Yeah, so we'll see you for the draft of game two. Don't go anywhere. We'll bring that to you in just a few short moments.
Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last Hearing voices from afar. Join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions.
And we are back and ready to go. And we apologize for starting draft a little bit late, but going through bands straight away, they're looking very similar as they did last time. And so Sivir is the choice of XSV Orion, but the response from XG OnlyFrogs is Jinx and Jarvan.
Yeah, and I really like the Jinx Jarvan. I think that, you know, at this point you're gonna have to play something. I would have liked if they could have saved the Braum for this game to protect Jinx. You know, she's a menace, really good into Sivir as well. It does look like XFV is going to be trying to push their tempo again, if possible. We'll see what they end up rounding out with. Um, sorry about the draft. Lowell is just having issues right now. So our production, Loki, is doing her best to get these showing correctly on the screen. If anything, we'll have to use the words again.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm guessing that was actually going to be my first thought as a jungle response might be the Xin Chao, is how common it is and how much XSV really typically, they don't stray too far from what is considered the meta at higher levels of play. And well, Xin Chao being available, one of the stronger junglers, going to pick that up, but Mel going to be the choice from XSV Orion as well.
I absolutely love this pick. Depending on what else they send at them, being able to reflect the Jinx rocket back, have the AP scaling with the ability to, it's gonna be huge, as we do see Akali coming out for the side of XG. So a little bit more of a comfort champ. There's a lot of mobility on the side of XG. Their comp is a lot different than the first one. So really interested to see how this one plays out. I really do like where they're going with this in the beginning, though.
Yeah, and I mean, Sluter's Akali, especially last time out, was particularly good. But if there's one adjustment as well that I'm kind of looking forward to, that I hope XG does, is to get Masuf on a more of a carry champion off the Scion, because that is really what he excelled on last week. The Aatrox game in game one didn't look so strong, but as soon as you put him on the Darius, you put him on the Camille, ran away with that series as soon as he did. I think he got like 6 or 7 solo kills across those 2 games. Just was the unstoppable force. Wait, that's the Malphite. But he was, he was the guy. He was him on those champions.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, yeah. And I just think it would be really good for him to go toe-to-toe with Jolts, with somebody that can actually have kill potential and pressure, not just, having to run into a bush of Scion and hope that you're not getting taken down. The set into the Scion was the perfect pickup because of all the health scaling and how much extra damage set does off of that. Really looking forward to see what comes out. Like you said, Masuf, I want to see him on a bruiser as well, or somebody with a lot of agency and ability to showcase. You're down 0-1. Let's just go all in. I love the Lulu pickup for the Jinx. It's going to be able to enable her so much, keep her safe, and XG so far, the Akali Comfort Champ is awesome. Poppy coming in for the side of XFV is perfect. Jarvan, one of the last champions you want to see is the Poppy. We'll see how well they're able to pull it off going in. But it does look like XG has a very aggressive comp that wants to just fight again, but is more well suited to do so.
I'm actually not so sure about the Poppy pick here, because if Cassante is locked in, since it is that pick, I mean, that's going support, but I mean, typically when you pick Poppy support, it's into the likes of the Nautilus or the Leona or any sort of engaged champion with a dash. Even though Lulu might not exactly be the most oppressive support ever, I feel like in this lane, Poppy does kind of nothing here, and probably going to try to look to get out of lane as much as possible. Luckily, with the Sivir, it should probably allow a little bit more freedom for the Poppy, but I'm not as sold on it just yet. I see what it is like compositionally, but it could struggle early on. It's my concern.
Yeah, and I think that you're on to the right idea, where they're just going to take Sivir, have her QW the wave, and just, sit back and just try to farm from afar, or, just shove the wave constantly. If you do catch Jinx out, or you do catch the Lulu at a bad position, you will able to have a little bit of kill pressure with the Poppy, having Xin come down. And then I think the Poppy is more for the mid to late game, where you're trying to stop the Akali from getting into your backline. You're trying to stop the perfect execution. You're trying to stop everything coming your way, and just being that frontline protection, while Cassante can take somebody out and Xin can take somebody, stop a lot of the range damage from the Jinx. And so I think the comp will work. I'm with you where, like, maybe it's not as good into the Lulu, but I think thinking late game, they have an idea of what they want to do, where so much damage is going to be coming out from the Mel and the Sivir once she gets 3 items, that they're going to be able to scrap really, really efficiently and well up against this XG comp.
But I mean, scrapping well and efficiently, the Darius, the counter pick given over to XG OnlyFrogs. It was one of the examples of champions that I wanted to see that Masuf would be able to get. They do put him on this Darius. He went, I think he got like 3 solo kills in like the first 8 minutes of that game too, over Basement Dwellers, in which they won that series. And while I feel like it might be a little bit harder, I mean, Jolts has had a really good performance in general so far this season from whatever small sample size we have. If there is one thing to look out for, it will be Masuf on this Darius.
Yeah, and I think that's your pocket pick. That's, everything that you wanted to come out of this. If you are Masuf, you want to be able to just go into him. Cassante wants to jump in on you. He wants to, scrap from melee range, and Darius just excels so well at that. There's a lot of shred, the bleed damage, everything. Once his conquerors get stacked, he's going to heal so much. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, after game one, I think that Jolts is going to be able to play it just fine. However, if he does get behind and Darius does get, a little bit fed, he could absolutely take over this game. He is going to one-shot Sivir and Mel so quickly. But you have to get there and you have to play like, you're even, because it's 0-0. It's a brand new game, and the mental reset that's required after losing that badly. I think Darius is a perfect addition to this comp for XG.
I also think XG OnlyFrogs, they have a few players that have been in around the scene for a while, like Improvise I've seen for quite a while. I know Sluter's been there, and same thing as Masouf, definitely have a lot of experience on their team. And, in that amount of time, certainly they've had their fair share of one-sided games go against them, because, look, it happens sometimes. And if there is a team with experience that extra experience helps you develop that extra mental fortitude, if there is some team that can do it, I suspect XG OnlyFrogs will be looking to come back much stronger here in game two. But with that in mind, who do you have taken game two, Phil?
I actually think XG here. I just really do like the Bruiser comp, and they're going to be so far ahead of the team fight that Jinx should be able to, fire from afar and get her damage in with the empowerment from the Lulu. I think that they just have a really, really strong 5v5, and each of these solo laners can kill the other ones. You know what I mean? Like Akali can, if given just a little bit, if there's just a flash missing on the Mel, she can get in there. She can, have a lot of kill pressure, a lot of mobility. I really did like the Poppy for the side of XFV, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. It stops the Jarvan, stops the Akali, but outside of that, Darius is going to run into you. And I really do think that as long as they don't screw up like they did early on in game one, they should be able to take this game.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if XG OnlyFrogs can push their advantages into this game, if they can bring us to a game three, or if XSV Orion continue their storm to be able to take this away 2-0. But we'll only be able to know after this spectator delay, so don't go anywhere. We'll be seeing you in a few short moments. we are back and ready to go for game 2 between XSV Orion and XG OnlyFrogs. And once again, before we can get to any sort of coverage, the issue here is that we've got some shenanigans from XSV Orion.
Yeah, it's their turn to pull something cheeky, but Darius in the proper spot should be able to get out. Masouf, what do you?
Yeah, we'll see him. Q range not quite there for Jolts. They're going to continue their push, though. Joby will be given enough time to try to find things out before flag comes down. Phil was seeing some things. Masouf going to continue running away. We'll try to surprise the rest of XSV, Orion, and,
Not exactly sure what he was doing. He saw all 5 people there, right? Like,
yeah.
You could see all 5 of that. Yeah, and they give it over to the Sivert. Like, that is just not what you want if you're XG. Like, I don't know why he didn't just keep coming down the river. You know, Jarvan was there. You know, Akali could have come up. Just a weird pathing, maybe.
He was on the wrong side of the map. He was heading towards the blue side, but I mean, I guess at that point you just run to one of the towers and execute because they were completely out of range. I don't think he'd taken any damage from any of the XSV members, so just a bit odd from Masouf.
It almost seemed like he was like not paying attention at all to what was going on either. You know what I mean? Like he was just standing there as they were walking up to him into melee range too. So interesting. Maybe he was looking at something else on the map, as he is actually getting a lot of damage onto Jolts on this Cassante. So a flashless Cassante.
Oh yeah, already.
Yeah.
Oh, but the charge forward from Chief finds a stun onto Improvise, who has to heal and flash early to be able to stay alive. So even though I wasn't necessarily the biggest believer in the Poppy for Chief, it does do some work very early on here.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I had said. Like, if you're going to be up against the walls, this Poppy will and can punish you pretty hard, so they're going to have to be wary of that and just make sure that they're not doing that anymore, because now that's a flashless and healless Lulu as well.
Oh my goodness, Masouf. I mean, I was looking forward to Masouf going off on this Darius, and it looks like they're starting to do that now despite what happened at level 1.
Yeah, like you said, it's a comfort champ, and it's a really, really strong matchup for Darius too. Like, he's able to basically get everything that he wants, you know, with the melee matchup of Cassante, because Cassante really can't do too much into that. So it's kind of like a backwards from what, or an opposite of what last match was, where Jolts was on it, but Joby coming in for a
flag drag finds its way onto Happier Cat, but Sluter just a little bit too far away to be able to follow up.
Yeah, just going to get a little bit of damage trade back here. But that's fine. You know, getting the Mel pressured off of the wave is always a good thing, too. You don't have to get kills every time that you gank. So sometimes little things are just as important to have.
All the while taking a look at these two junglers who have started on the opposite sides. I mean, Xin Zhao and the Jarvan, two junglers that are very much in the meta right now. You know, are very big fighters, but it does look like Joby might try to find the way onto Jolts, who we know who doesn't have flash. The Pathmaker will stop the flag drag, but the pull back from Masouf finds its way onto Jolts, but is still relatively healthy.
Yeah, you know, he's got his cloth armor now. He's got replenishing potions, or rejuvenating potions, so he's going to be just fine to sustain this as a little bit of a fight in the mid lane. You know, and he's even going to stop Joby from backing here, so wasting a ton of time. Jolt's doing what Masouf was doing last game, where he's just taking all of that time away from the jungler. And Jolts is going to be a little bit behind. He wanted to buy, but now he's just going to have to, go and clear his camps with no item help. Oof.
Oh, the pullback from Masouf, but there's a ton of minion damage. Finds way down. Q3 flips Masouf back. It's a solo kill for Jolts in the counter matchup, but Joby is here to be able to try to turn a kill back the other way. Jolt's just going to dash away and be all right. So despite how things were looking for Jolts early on, he pulls up with another solo kill.
Yeah, Masouf just, I don't know. He's just, He's playing it a bit weird here, but
Speaking
Jolts
of
is now.
Jolts,
Yeah.
not quite respecting the pressure that Joby can have. Going to hit level 6 off that final menu, going to go all out, gets the extra damage and health from that. The shields come through. Joby going to have to flash away in the 1v1 that he opted to take.
Yeah, that was insane play by Jolts. This Cassante, he is doing so well. Fresh off of his performance last game, like this is absolutely insane how much he is just powering over the side of XG, and just everything is kind of going his way. Even playing under the turret, everything's just kind of working for him right now. So the little bit of a lead that it seemed like Masuf had on the Darius is all but gone now.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking for Masuf to have a better performance in this game, but that solo kill getting its way over to Jolts, I mean, the first one you could kind of write off as being a little bit awkward of the level 1 nonsense sort of things, but that second one, it's like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, now it's just kind of bad for him as the Poppy's looking over at the mid lane, and Masuf's trying to hit level 6 here. We know that Jolts had already used his ultimate on Joby, and the Jarvan in the gank gone really, really wrong, but now he's going to try to charge this up here as he does burn his ghost.
Yeah, I just mentioned it is the ghost option for Jolts. Does have access to Moxie and Guillotine. Use it early, and that's a solo kill for Masuf despite Joby arriving. So it is a response for Masuf, and we got a ton of solo kills last week on this champion, and you're probably hoping that they'll be able to do the same this time, and ideally that'll be the start of that.
Yeah, and even with the Bramble Vest, that Q and Conqueror stacking together is just so much healing, as it looked like he was dead to rights, but then, he gets the Q off, then he ults, and just Jolts is going to have to figure out a way to deal with this before it gets out of hand for the side of XFV, because Darius being fed is going to be one of the hardest things for them to overcome with the comp that they've drafted.
And importantly, Jolts had used the teleport earlier to get back to lane, so we'll miss out on a little bit of gold and experience as well. Meanwhile, Masuf walking back, a few strong components in hand, so again, I was looking out to see how Masuf would perform in this one, and I mean, if it is Masuf, he's got to have to push things a little bit faster and try to run away with this one.
Right, and there's just not, even though Sivir had gotten an early kill, she's not like a kill pressure kind of champion. She's not going to be, pressing that lead that, into this bot lane of Jinx and Lulu. That's really, really hard to kill, even with the Poppy. So it's going to be on the hands of Jolts to not give too much of an advantage over to the Darius, because if Masuf gets ahead, too far, it's going to be really, really hard for them to deal with that. So mid lane, they're just kind of trading health bars back and forth. Happier Cat is a little under, level here, but just nothing else is really going on the map.
Flag, drag, finds around to Happier Cat and flashes away, but the Cataclysm will stop the advance. But it's a good, steadfast presence for Chief to knock someone under the tower, and the response from XSV is there. Jolts roaming down to the bot lane, to the mid lane, to help out, and now Iconic has arrived. There's nowhere for Sluter to go, and despite the early advantage, Sluter, though, going to change their target onto Chief to be able to turn that around in a 2v2.
Yeah, really, really well done by Sluter on this Akali, and gets the Storm Surge as its reward. And just really heads up play, just saved everything that they needed to. And then Poppy being that low, even though she was trying to cut off, being able to stop her from being able to, jump around and get back to the turret safely, ended up giving their life away for free there. Very unfortunate for XFV. If you're on that side, but really, really good play by XG there, as now that's, 2 kills, one over to the Jarvan, one over to the Akali, and that's going to be huge for them to stay in this game and, be able to start putting pressure around the rest of the map.
Yeah, and also, even though Chief obviously giving away that kill at the end, I did really like their patience and their knowledge of this champion to wait for that Cataclysm to go down, then to shove Joby under the tower with the charge to be able to go up against the own wall, trying to say, you're not, I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me. Which really really helped turn that fight in the fortunes of that fight. So despite, like I said, perhaps staying a little bit too long, I really like how Chief played that fight as well.
Yeah, and Chief just carrying on from what they were doing in the Rel game in game one. We're just making all the right decisions, doing all the right things, and
But Joby's back in the
return.
mid lane. They know Happier Cat doesn't have a flash. Chief isn't around this time to shove him under tower. Cataclysm drops. Happier Cat probably not long for this world. Perfect execution will be used. Happier Cat nowhere to go, and it'll be a kill for XG OnlyFrogs.
Yeah, and that's something that they're going to have to do because Mel late game is going to be a beast. So the longer that you can sit there and get that, stop that from happening, the better off you're going to be. So really, really well done. I like this, but oof.
Oh, the flash forward from Chief to be able to find the pick onto Big Will and Improvise comes through, but the wild growth to Improvise will try to keep himself alive a little bit longer, but won't be long enough as XSV find the pick.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but that's the strength of the Poppy. You flash into a wall, they're just locked up completely. So good job by XFV realizing, hey, Dragon's coming, we need to set this up, and boom, they gave us an opportunity, and they took it. There's more fighting up on the top side.
I mean, the thing is, with the Thorn mail completed by Jolts, I don't suspect Masuf will be able to do anything until he gets this Black Cleaver. Or wait, no. Wait, hold on.
Looks like he's going Triforce first.
Yeah, okay. I mean, so we'll probably take a little bit longer there. Masuf getting snared up by Happier Cat. The Golden Eclipse going to drop. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but it will be enough to find the first kill. But now Sluter has arrived, but at the same time as Chief, the charge comes its way down onto Joby, gets the stun onto the wall. The Ignite won't quite be enough to find the kill, but now Ixie is the target as they have been left alone. Just a few more auto attacks are all Big Will needs, but it's not quite enough, and they had used the Super Mega Death Rocket to try to turn that fight in the top side river, so they won't be able to finish off Ixie.
Now there's the biscuits coming through. So just a little bit. I think she got down to 14 health on the Sivir, and then just ended up eating that. But well played by the
perfect execution. Second use will find the damage, but the tower shots are enough to be able to train that back for 1v1 between Happy Cat and Sluter. We're not done just yet, though. Itaconic trying to find his way in onto Joby, but the flag dragged away will keep him alive.
Yeah, and really good look from Itaconic on the Xin Shao to try to make that happen. And we see Chief is also trying to come around and make like a good maybe Hextech flash play here. Xin Shao and Chief are going to more than likely get this. Nope. They're just going to start suffocating him. Yep.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Joby's completely isolated out from their own camps. And so, despite the hectic start to this game, XSV do find themselves in an advantaged position once again. You 1k up, not as far ahead as they were last time around, but still very much in an alright position. And especially considering how much Ixie had been left alone, he's doing alright in the bot lane, keeping up with Big Wheel.
Yeah, and that's something that, when the support is going to be roaming, when Chief is gone, so... Itaconic catching himself out here.
Might be a little bit too far, but the Flame Chomper's not quite going to find the snare. It would have been absolutely massive if those did land, but not quite hitting the mark just yet. Masuf, I mean, he does no damage to Jolt at this point in time. He actually,
he doesn't.
Of course, as I say that, he has access to the Noxian Guillotine, but clearly not at the point to be able to finally execute just yet onto Jolts.
Yeah, no, and like I was going to say is that when support roams, what you have to do if you're XG is just constantly be on top of this server. Like as soon as you see Chief somewhere else, they need to be jumping onto Ixie. And unfortunately, with Lulu Jinx, it's just a little bit harder to pull off. If you wanted to go the Enchanter route and be able to punish this, maybe like a Nami or somebody that could perma slow, but just unfortunate when the other support isn't there and you just can't get these kills. It just feels really, really bad.
Sugar is playing very aggressively, zoning Happier Cat away for before I get to that,
this flash
is right. The flash to stop the recall from Jolts is doesn't even stop the recall despite the damage falling.
Yeah, it just like, timed up just a
Slater is
little
going
bit.
to try to find their way in onto Happier Cat. Golden Eclipse will be used alongside the Ignite from Chief, but it's not enough to find the kill onto Sluter.
Super close, but like you said, just not enough. And now they're going to have B
Ooh.
on the other side of this. Here's Joby's looking for an avenue in, but probably won't get it. And they're more than likely going to have to give up this Rift Herald here, too.
That, but Iconic will move away from it, going to try to find a way onto Big Wheel, but the Wild Growth slows down the advance. Now the target is going to be Joby, who gets a heal from the Sundered Sky, and now the response, the autos from Big Wheel do so much damage. Doesn't have access to the Super Mega Death Rocket, but they won't need it. The Zap will be able to tag Iconic, and they'll be able to find the kill now in the bot lane. Masup going to try to find the dive onto Ixie, but it will be traded back, shut down for the Darius, but it is traded back immediately, and Sluter finds a Chief who's been hanging around a little bit too close to the tower.
Yeah, we knew that they were going to want to fight, but I wasn't sure it was this much. Holy crap, XG's just trying to make plays everywhere, and that zap from Big Wheel on this Jinx just completely saved that entire play because it was almost for nothing, but really, really well done. Jinx getting excited. She's now got 1 kill. The Yuntal's is finished. She's going to be working over next, gets a BF sword too. So this Jinx is going to be really, really scary, but she is also being paired up against the Sivir, who now has the Navori Flicker Blade and the upgraded boots completed. So right now, if you're XFV, you're waiting for one more item from Sivir, and then she's going to be online, whereas XG, they feel like they just want to take fights all the time as much as they can.
Yeah, and I mean, they really have been just fighting 24/7, and well, this time around, it has worked out for them. I mean, their last few fights have gone their way, but if there is one concern I do have for this XG team, is that the fact they haven't really been able to find any of these neutral objectives. This will more than likely be Soul Point going the way of XSV Orion, as Itaconic is on that Draken, and Joby's on the opposite side, and as we get the confirmation, it will be Soul Point to XSV Orion.
Yeah, and it's an Ocean Soul too, so there's going to be a lot of regen, during these fights. Cassante is going to be able to heal up a lot. So, now if you're XG, you're like, okay, we've given up the grubs, we've given up this, given up that. So,
Improvise the target. Will use the Wild Growth on Big Wheel, interestingly, despite Big Wheel being quite far away, but now Joby going to use a Cataclysm onto Happier Cat. But it's only this Jarvan who's around trying to buy time for Masuf to arrive, flashes forward, and there's the kill. Masuf gets yet another one. He had a slow start, but he's starting to feel the groove.
yeah, he really is. And, Triforce completed. He's going a little tanky now. Really, really good catch by Joby. And even though, he knew he wasn't going to be able to get the kill, calling down Masuf and, with the flash up, able to get on top of the Mel and get a clean kill for nothing. And now be able to push this bot lane and boom.
Actually,
piloting around the Shelly.
At first I thought we were going to have to revoke Masuf's driver's license, but of course, as I say, that's going to be the heroic charge to stun him under the tower. Does he get the final auto attack needed to be able to get the turret? He does, but is traded back by Ixie. I did initially kind of like the move to be able to dodge out. It was Itaconic and Chief on that side of the map instead of hitting that top lane tier 2. Instead, drifted it back towards the mid, but still stayed around a little bit too long anyway.
Yeah, and there's two schools of thought. Take the turret if you can get it, or maybe back off so that you don't give the kill away. But getting as much global gold as you can to try to help feed this Jinx and get your team back into this game is probably paramount for them. They are ahead on gold despite losing all the objectives. So as of right now, XG, they are going to want to keep putting this pressure up. You open the map up so much when you take that tier 2 mid inhibitor, or tier 2 towers. So not all in all a bad call, and I like the fact that he made the call, stuck with it, and didn't flip-flop back and forth on what he wanted to do.
While we take a look around, we finally have a bit of a moment to breathe as we've been just under a kill a minute, but my eyes immediately are drawn to the inventory of Improvise, and is it 2017? Because we've got an Ardent sensor for Lulu.
Yeah,
I'm traumatized by this item. I don't care that it's not good anymore. It's like, oh no, Ardent sensor.
Yeah,
I remember. Those were the dark days.
I still build it on my enchanters, but it's usually item 2, item 3. I would have much rather seen like a Shirelia's to try to get everybody moving, maybe even a Moonstone for the extra shielding and stuff. But Ardent Censor's is going to do a lot to help out this Jinx. Oof.
With a pullback from Masouf. Won't push their luck any further, and actually Happier Cat does quite a bit in return. The flash forward from Happier Cat finds the root with the golden clip available, won't even need it. Happier Cat getting the quick solo kill onto Masouf.
Yeah, and that's a fight that Masouf wanted. He thought he had an angle on it, but took 2 turret shots while rooted up. So just unfortunate, because you had the idea, you had the play that you wanted to do, but you did burn the flash. You did not get the ult, so not all bad, but not great either for Masouf on this Darius. He's making a lot of questionable mental plays. I would say his mechanics have been just fine. It's just the decision making hasn't seemed to have been there on this Darius.
Sitting now 3-6-0, not an ideal spot for this Darius to be. We were looking at Masouf as a potential member to blow up in this game, but Big Wheel is the target for Itaconic. The Wild Growth not going to be used just yet by Improvise, holding onto that for quite a while. But instead of using that, it will cost the Flash, the Ghost, and the heal from the side of XG.
Yeah, and now that's going to be a very vulnerable Jinx, and in 40 seconds, the soul point is going to be up here. So XFV want to push this. They want to probably get this tier 1. They want to maybe get a kill or 2 prior to this as well, and they're in a really good position to do it. But Masouf coming down now as the fight is about to break out.
Yep, I've got a lot of members showing up. This flank from Sluter will be spotted out, but the zap finds way onto Ixie. The slow won't be the angle that Masouf is going to look for to get the pull. So we'll dance around a little bit longer, trying to find a fight, trying to find an angle to be able to get a fight, especially as you mentioned, since this is soul point to the way of XSV Orion. It is an absolutely massive Drake to be able to fight over, but Improvise already taking a ton of damage before anything has really even started. Mid lane tier 1, going to go to the side of XSV Orion as they continue to push through. And it seems that the health bars have just gotten a little bit too low from the side of XG OnlyFrogs. Still Sluter potentially trying to be able to use this blast cone to be able to find the way in. Will be spotted out by the false site alteration. And so now XSV not going to start up the Drake themselves, going to try to bait some big blunder out of the side of XG OnlyFrogs. Now Joby going to drop the flag, not going to drag over, a bit wisely so. There is no real follow-up available to him. But now the target is Joby. The dash for the heals from the Sundered Sky isn't quite enough to keep him alive. Happy Cat going to get the first kill, and now it's looking to go mostly the way of XG OnlyFrogs. Chief will be able to get the Poppy, but it's just about it. Jolt's now going all out to try to find Improvise. Won't quite be able to get the Lulu, but it just won't quite matter. The Q3 lands, brings Masouf back, and the spell shield from Ixie to dodge out the Noxian Guillotine. Keeps himself alive. Ixie really good with the hands so far in this series. We saw last time a few flashes on those charms. Now Sluter is the target, has nowhere to go. Will be marked up by the Sin Shao. Can he get away? Sluter on the wrong side of the map. Looks like he will be fine, and we'll just try to burn the time of XSV Orion and try to be able to allow XG to regroup, but he was almost certainly dead.
Yeah, I think he is anyways. Yeah, just buying time so that when the dragon pops up, you can have 4v4 here. But, XFV is going to have all 5 members here. Time bought, potentially time wasted, but we'll have to see. I think they're going to have to concede this, and I don't know if maybe they should have just ran straight up to Otacon as soon as he started chasing Sluter around, but... yeah, XG just kind of on the backside of things here, and you'll see the Super Mega Death Rocket not going to be able to steal the dragon. It's one of my favorite things to see in these games when that happens, so maybe we'll get a chance at the Baron.
We'll have to wait and see if this Baron can be stolen away, but even so, Ocean Soul to XSV Orion is absolutely huge. how slow that they can really opt to play these fights that we saw last time around. They'll keep them alive. It'll keep them healthy. And now with Otacon in their sights, that'll be two really big permanent buffs in their inventories that even though the gold looks even, it is deceptive, as very much the combat power available to XSV Orion is still really strong. And now Chief going to use the heroic charge to stun up Sluter, and the steadfast presence means that the Sluter can't go anywhere. Jolts will be the ones carrying that kill. Nowhere to go for
and
Sluter,
the Otacon.
and now, yeah, the Otacon, and I'm going to assume that's almost certainly going to be the Baron as well.
Yeah, I mean, it should be, but it looks like they're going to want to reset here. But it would be really nice to see XFE take that Baron right after that. They did a really good job of like keeping everybody on the map except for Jolts and Happier Cat, who started up that Otacon, and it ended up just like being like kind of like a sneaky play that nobody really saw. So big kudos for that call and the ability to basically take that without XG knowing until the very last second when Akali gave up her life for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's again, even though the gold's been relatively even and these fights have kind of gone irate, it feels like we may have hit that point in which any sort of chance that XG may have had, their chances are getting longer and much further away from them now. But the flag drag will find its way onto Jolt's a good path maker to stop the CC from coming down. It's an attempted pick. The Cassante is really tanky at this point in time. Flag drag, not landing good fast presence, but all the while, since the jungler is in the mid lane, Super Mega Death Rocket just a little bit early and the steal doesn't come through. That's Baron to XSV Orion.
Yeah, now it's just close this game out, you know, just slowly pressure this, or quick pressure on the mid lane, probably a quick reset, and then get into all three lanes, unless they do see that three of the members of XG are other places on the map, so this basically gives them freedom to just go in here and take this initial, or this tier 2 and then the tier 3, and maybe even pressure the Nexus.
It does look like Masuf's just staying in the bottom lane, trying to be able to get as much as they can. Hopefully that the 4 members of XG OnlyFrogs can delay the push from XSV Orion, but that's going to be the first Nexus turret going down. The Keeper's Verdict will send Masuf away, but now Darius has, Big Will away. Masuf has a rod that doesn't do so much damage onto the members of XSV Orion. They're healing back up. Sluter deleted immediately. And now this seems to be going to be game 2. Going the way of XSV Orion, unless we get an absolutely heroic moment. Masuf trying to find the way into the backline will get a big heal, but it's not enough. And now the heroic charge from Chief will come through, and XSV Orion in dominant fashion once again take game 2 and the series.
Yeah, they played that so well, just like the first one, except for I think this one was a little less surprising just because of how the first one went. But XFV, kudos to them. Like, they came in with a game plan. They executed it perfectly. XG threw 2 completely different comps their way, and they still were able to just do exactly what they wanted. They played the game, the pace, the tempo, everything they controlled. And I think, this one was just absolutely clean. The only thing that they didn't get was the Rift Herald.
Yeah, just a surgical performance from XSV Orion. I mean, it's a very huge statement win, I think, from XSV Orion, because, I mean, even though they are one of the more highly rated teams, XG OnlyFrogs are also kind of up there in that expected high tier to be able to, maybe not title favorites, but definitely one of our better teams, and to be able to come out against a really strong XG OnlyFrogs team and dominate for, I'd say, about 80, 85, maybe 90% of the series. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, both games combined were less than 60 minutes. So, Stomp it. The one thing that I would say is that, at this point in the season, you're 2-0, you're feeling really good. I think at this point, everybody else is going to be looking at you, and you're going to have the target on your back, and you're going to be getting everybody's best game from here on out. So it will be interesting to see if XFV can, use this to just stay on the trajectory of going up and catapult themselves. And on the other side, XG, you have to take a look on the inside. Some of their decision making was a little weak. So at certain points they just seemed like they were lost, like they were just piss fighting over nothing, and making bad plays. And so XFV were kind of given that, but at the same time they're the ones that created that situation that XG found themselves in.
So I think with that will conclude this Blue Otter Diamond League stream from us tonight. Ivan, Isaac, alongside me has been Fel. Loki's been working the magic behind the scenes to be able to make this possible. And so from us, thank you for tuning in tonight. And we'll hopefully see you next week for another Blue Water Diamond League match. Don't go do go anywhere. Sorry, wrong transition. We'll see you in a week.